Hi, and welcome back. Today we're going to talk about training zones, how your heart rate relates to different intensities of exercise. And this is important because training at the right intensity means we get the best results for your goal, whether that's going to be fat loss, endurance, or performance. So this is relevant to all of you. Make sure you listen up. Firstly, let's define your maximum heart rate, or your HR max. The simplest formula is to take the number 220 and subtract your age. Okay, 220 minus your age equals your heart rate max. It's not perfect as an indicator, but it gives us a good starting point. And I want to get that out now, that just because you go over whatever your heart rate max is, it doesn't mean you automatically keel over and die. But in terms of the different zones at which we perform, we need to have a max so that we can identify the different zones. And you may develop your fitness, your cardiovascular fitness, to a point where actually you can operate comfortably over that HR max number. But all will make sense in a moment. Let's look at your training zones. There are 5 of them, and you'll see on this diagram here, we've got everything from very light all the way to maximum, with the effect that it has. So effort and then the effect as well. If we break it down, zone 1 is recovery or very light work. It's 50 to 60% of your heart rate max, and it helps with recovery. It's light activity, so think walking or gentle cycling. It's comfortable and it's great for warming up, cooling down, or like I said, your active recovery, active rest days or recovery days. Zone 2, this is your endurance base. It's the blue section on the diagram. This is 60 to 70% of your heart rate max and is steady state cardio. So this is a zone that we can continue to work in, hopefully comfortably, for an extended period of time. So sustained work for maybe 30 minutes. You can hold a conversation whilst you're performing in this zone, but you're working. Okay, so we're talking about actually the oxygen that you need in order to perform. This zone will build your aerobic base. It improves your fat metabolism and it supports your overall health. So it's a really good zone to be in without having to overexert yourself. Zone 3. This is moderate or green on the chart, 70 to 80% of your heart rate max. This is moderate to hard work. Breathing is heavier and your conversation is short. It's great for improving cardiovascular fitness and muscular endurance. All right. So in terms of, again, relative to zone 2, you can teeter into zone 3 and you will notice the difference, because in terms of exertion, the analogy here, or the example, is actually whether the oxygen that you can use for a conversation, and basically it gets lesser and lesser the harder we work. Zone 4, your threshold. So this is the hard section, 80 to 90% of your heart rate max. It requires hard, strong effort. You're pushing, you're breathing heavy, and this conversation that you are having now goes to only short phrases. That's all that's possible whilst you're doing the work. Typically used for interval training, this zone. It improves speed, power, and your tolerance to lactic acid. So interval training is short bursts with short recoveries, and the workouts themselves are typically shorter. And the lactic acid, the tolerance to lactic acid, that's the burn in the muscles that you start to feel after a while working in this zone. We end up building and producing lactic acid quicker than our body can process it out. So then you start to feel that burn in the muscles, and we end up wanting to stop the performance of that muscle. So that's what the lactic acid tolerance is. Very useful to develop when you work in zone 4. Zone 5. Max effort, 90 to 100% of your heart rate max. This is intense, very intense. It's unsustainable beyond 30 to 60 seconds, right? That's the kind of work we're talking about. Think sprints, think all-out intervals. This trains your explosive performance, but it does require plenty of recovery. Okay, so if we're factoring in this work within a workout or on one of your training days, you need 1 to 2 days of rest before you go back into this zone with any deliberate training, because don't forget, the heart is a muscle as well, and you'll be training it right to its maximum, and it needs to recover, as well as your central nervous system and your CV system. Okay, so max effort, that one, not there for a good time, not a long time. All right. Key takeaways: use zone 1 for recovery and active rest. Most of your steady state training should be in zone 2 or 3 for health and endurance. Okay, hence why it's your foundation. You can sprinkle in zones 4 and 5 for performance gains and intensity. So whatever that may be, based on what your sport is or what your goals are, sprinkle in the zone 4 and 5 to get you closer and keep a significant progress in the direction you want to go. Once you know your training zones, you will train smarter, not just harder. And I'll see you in the next video.